So recently, there's been a bit of pattern recognition going on in the geography community. Basically, whenever you look at a UN vote map, there's always two countries that tend to side with each other, even if the policy is absolutely horrible. This is America, and this little dot here, yeah, that's Israel. The most popular real-life example of this is when the UN voted to make food a right. This is the map that usually gets thrown around all over the internet. Now, of course, there are examples of other countries sometimes joining in on the team. It's not just the US and Israel, but a lot of the times you will see those two places vote together. But this especially happens with any United Nations vote that has to do with, well, recognition of Palestine, obviously. But how about this one? The UN vote to end puppy kicking. I guess the US and Israel don't want that one either. The pattern recognition is now happening where you can literally look at just ink blots. What are those called? From like, what do the psychiatrists show you? Bro, every time I go outside, I'm literally seeing this pattern everywhere. When I play games like Minesweeper, I see it there. When I look at the sub-region breakdown of the nation of Poland, I see it there. Which actually, honestly, this is just impressive. This is actually a work of art. It's gotten so bad I can even look at binary code and I'll see it there as well. The US and Israel just with such very obvious borders, I guess. And now I'm even being memory holed and a little bit of gaslighting's happening here. This is supposedly the Google Map initial first release back in 2005. It's all the US and Israel, and it always has been. You know, I actually wouldn't be surprised if Google Maps actually did launch with just the US and Israel back in 2005. Even looking at minimalistic takes on the world map. Why is it so easy to see what's being memed here? I can't escape this stuff. Remember, folks, we're only talking about pattern recognition, that's all. I think it all stems from comments like these because you'll see them so often. Average UN votes. It's just the US and Israel, as I've been saying. My pattern recognition skills have gotten so good, I can observe stuff like this in one dimension. I can literally see the map just with a single pixel line. Yeah, isn't it technically 2D? I actually feel like I'm starting to lose my damn mind. Why is it everywhere? I can even see this UN vote in emoji hearts. It's basically the meme loss at this point. It's the exact same thing that's going on where you used to be able to recognize the pattern that is the loss comic. In fact, that's a new variation that you can do. You can still do the loss comic and the average UN vote be like. I just don't know how much more I can take of this. I legitimately wonder if this is going to be the new Among Us meme. Do you remember throughout like all of 2020 and 2021, like you'd be able to physically leave your house and you would see sus things? I think honestly, we could see it. I might one day be looking at the side of a dumpster with the average UN vote map on it. Map of all the United States counties except God damn it, I'm seeing it everywhere. It's still here! Just can't escape it. I love how this format was created, started to become popular, then it became so popular it became annoying, and people started to create parodies and postmodern-ish, and all of it in the span of several days. Just great. Well, that was a thing. Same thing with Among Us. Popular, annoying, then it reverted back because it was so annoying that it became funny again. Maybe that's what's gonna happen here. Yes, here we go. The UN vote to ban all colors. In gray, the yays, in gray, the nays, and in gray, the abstained. So is it safe to say this passed? We just don't know exactly what countries did. Majority of countries that voted for it. Damn it, we're not gonna be able to figure out who caused all this mess. Damn, that's a thick New Zealand. I think it's safe to say the only countries that might have voted no to ban all colors could be the US and Israel, because clearly it passed. I think everyone must have voted yes. We all know UN votes only go that way. Another map that is unreadable by colorblind people. The funny part is this is not the same map as all the other many variations we've seen over the past few days. If the US as a permanent member voted no, they'd have vetoed it and we could have seen the colors. We actually agreed on something? What's funny is if they actually did hold a UN vote that would remove veto powers, the veto-powered countries would all vote nay. They would finally be able to agree upon something. Why would the US, France, the UK, Russia, and China want to lose this super OP strat to just be able to veto anything? It is the only way we could all come together. But speaking of pattern recognition, has anyone noticed this pattern? For some reason on the eastern coastline of the Asian continental plate, we have nothing but peninsulas. Did they think we just weren't gonna notice this or something? God damn it, I thought the devs were supposed to address the map generation issues at this point. I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to unsee this now, like it's kind of crazy. From this peninsula and Russia, and this peninsula and the Korean peninsula, and then this thing with China and the island, and then the Vietnam. Never thought I'd see Reddit talk about pattern recognition and how useful it could be. People are now referring to this as content Continental drip, not to be confused with another type of Continental drip. That's just fashionable. Bro, look how skinny those are. I don't care that I'm unk and I'm chopped. Baggy pants look bad. I mean, not that these really skinny ones look good, but I'm telling y'all, Gen Alpha in the future is going to be clowning on you like the 2003 NBA draft class here. This is legitimately what some of you look like with the baggy ass fits. Oh, is that what's happening to Asia? It's Floridification? I didn't even realize this. Yeah, all of these places just look like Florida now. What's funny is not only do these places look like Florida, but a lot of them act like Florida as well, at least with their level of rage sometimes. This is the diplomatic relationship between different countries, like China and Taiwan, like South Korea and North Korea, like Japan and the rest of China. You would think it's just anger going all around, but truthfully, it's actually not. I mean, yeah, Asian countries do tend to hate other Asian countries, the absolute most. But you gotta remember their hatred runs so deep that it actually makes them bond with others, like South Korea and Taiwan here, they actually like each other because they despise China so much. Same thing for North Korea and China. They like each other because they hate mutual enemies. Sometimes hatred doesn't pull everyone together. South Korea and Japan typically geopolitically are on the same level. They should be on the same team. They should like each other, but no. Way too much history there. You know, I forget to examine the relationship Japan has with North Korea. Like, they definitely don't have the same despisal energy, but they definitely don't like each other. I mean, North Korea was abused by the Japanese just as much as South Korea was. This is just the relationship that makes it so damn awkward. For a split second there, I thought this was a map of the Levant, and I was so confused why everyone would have such strong opinions about the Mediterranean. Bro literally can't see anything else but the average UN vote. I just wish the Philippines were included in this map. Yo guys, massive leak. Putin's peace plan just dropped. I don't think he wanted this to be revealed, or maybe he did. He basically wants to take everything from Switzerland to Italy to Germany. He even wants Iberia. He'll turn France and the lowland countries as well as the UK into the demilitarized zone. And for some reason, Finland. Why Finland? And then he's gonna put Ukraine in Ireland. Is Ireland going to be cool with that? It kind of makes sense. I mean, Russia or the former Soviet Union did basically have a lot of this stuff. It's nice to see that we know exactly what he wants. You know, now we can just agree upon it and call it a day, or I don't know. How's that going to work? I already know I'm going to read comments but unironically. I mean, I probably wouldn't even deny that. This is probably what they would ultimately want. The Kremlin has already rejected the plan, saying it's not ready to make any concessions. Maybe they're actually going to remove that demilitarized zone. They just want all that. Is this not too pro-Ukraine? I was recently asked to point to the USA on the map. The problem is I was noticing the only people being polled were really short people. We had only one guess. The problem was the US was really way too up high. We were unable to reach anything higher than the equator. It seems like for the most part everyone was pretty good at their geography, but I mean obviously we all got it wrong. I tried to do a little jump. I was like, ugh. That's why I got like a little bit above everyone else, but not much. I don't know what's wrong with this guy though. This guy was stupid. South of New Zealand? Really, bro? Too bad the US doesn't claim any part of Antarctica. That could have saved us. This smart guy right here looks like he was trying to point at Alaska for whatever reason, but you know, again, he was vertically challenged. Who would do such a thing? This is kind of evil. The problem is for all of us short kings out there was actually a correct answer, because there's one US territory that lies south of the equator. That's American Samoa. I mean, we could have tried for Jarvis Island and Baker Island, but that looks almost exactly on the equator. Here's Ecuador. That's Spanish for equator. I was so triggered by my Napoleonic complex being a short king, I wasn't able to use my brain fully. How often does that happen? That's crazy. Oh my god. Bye. I thought this was a UN vote. It is. It is a UN vote. Oh my god. I need to check into a mental facility. It's the UN vote. I'm becoming schizo. I'm becoming schizo. I'm becoming schizo. I didn't even realize it was another average UN vote map. Somebody recently pointed out that if you were a gay man visiting Mr. Beast's new Beastland in Saudi Arabia, it would only be a 24-minute drive away to, well, public execution. I guess this is where they do their public executions. Was this all a ploy? Is Mr. Beast behind this? Did he mean to put Beastland so close to that? Or, man, only 25 kilometers away, too. That's crazy. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I didn't even hear about this. I didn't hear a single thing about this. That's scary. Like, how crazy is my algorithm? Bro's making pop-up theme parks? And also, oh, come on. He should have known, like, this is gonna be a little sketch to do it in Saudi Arabia. But, bro, Saudi Arabia is literally the epitome of Sisyphist right now, just trying to improve their public relations. It's been like 10 years. People are just not buying it. Now, remember, yeah, you don't even need to be gay to go into public execution. I mean, there's lots of things you could do wrong in Saudi Arabia to be publicly executed. executed. Apparently, they no longer carry out public executions in what is known as Chop Chop Square, but the executions will continue. If only they had high-speed rail, though, am I right? Bro, the continent of Asia just has way too much stuff, so I fixed it. This is certainly one way to do it. We've extended Europe to not only include Kazakhstan, which remember by current definitions, the European continent already kind of includes this piece of Kazakhstan, also Kyrgyzstan, and we're extending Europe all the way through what is controlled by Russia at this point. Then Africa is basically just getting all of the Middle East and a piece of South Asia with Afghanistan and Pakistan. That's how we're gonna grind down this already way too OP continent. Now, you all know me. I am a geographic supremacist. I mean that basically when it comes to defining the continents, we should only think about purely geography means. Right now, we consider a little bit too much like cultural stuff. I don't care about that. I want to look at a map and know that the continents are based purely on geography. That is it. So I don't love this, but you know what? It's an interesting thought. Let's ask Turkey. Turkey, do you want to be African? How about Pakistan and Afghanistan and Turkmenistan? What's funny about this is I believe Asia is still going to be the #1 most populated continent just because it still has China and India. That is how OP the continent of Asia actually is. I don't know how you fix this, but maybe I think we need to focus more on subcontinents. I don't like breaking down the subcontinent of India. I like the subcontinent known as South Asia, basically Afghanistan to Pakistan to India to Bangladesh. This is literally a continental plate that drove straight into Asia, causing the biggest mountain range in the world, Mount Everest. This is literally what the video game Plague Inc. did, bro. I think India and Pakistan would love to be known as being on two different continents. They want to be as far away from each other as possible. So what I'm saying, I think Turkey's gonna absolutely love this. There's actually a lot of comments that are saying like they kind of like it. To be fair, it kind of works, things like that. But I feel like that's gonna cause a massive war. Breaking news! Cuomo of New York has fled New York City mainland following its fall of socialist Zoran Mamdani. Sources say he will establish a new government on Staten Island with the goal of eventually reclaiming the entire city. Mamdani is promising to purge all remaining, I say this, Kuomintang on the mainland. We're basically making an exact joke to the Chinese Civil War. Obviously in the Chinese Civil War, the communist side won, the People's Republic of China, and this guy, this is Chiang Kai-shek. This is Taiwan. He was not down to be in a communist factory or whatever, you know. So when is Mamdani gonna do the invasion of Taiwan? I mean, the invasion of Staten Island. Is he just gonna wait around for 75 years and, you know, give us blue balls? Just do the naval invasion right now. I mean, that's probably what China should have done. They should have just strike. They should have just striked early. They didn't really have a navy. But does Cuomo have a navy? I don't think so. And here's a big thank you to this month's patrons. Can white people smell the rain? It's pronounced Tour de Sillas, Drew. Drew Labubu. Conquered Bread. Whitegrape of the Pirates. Never change, Drew. Unless you want to. LuxembourgLover. Fredrik Tibblin. Pavlik. KingBearHaze. NordTyrol. LoreTrack. What's your name here? Nolan. Check the Patreon link down below in the description.